All right, we're live, and what a big night, big day, big week, huh? Got opening night at Churchill, Kentucky Derby post draw. We got 3 Group 1s coming from Champions Day from Hong Kong, and Derby week next week.
Should be exciting.
You ready for all this action?
Yeah, and we got a Derby jockey running tonight. We'll get to see his action. Should be good.
Oh yeah, Lamar, or
Morera, the Magic Man.
Magic Man with Admire Daytona.
He's on Admire Daytona. No, he's on Luxor, I think. He's on Luxor. Yeah, he's riding tonight. A couple races. Former Hong Kong champ. I guess he was injured for a while and finally was able to come back. He's been very strong lately, so be good to see him.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, and should be some great racing. I'm looking forward to seeing Ka Ying Rising run again and see if he can take his 12 for 14 record up a notch.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see. He's a beast. He doesn't. We'll get to it, I guess, but he's a tough one to find a way around. Pretty much every time he's up. I'm not sure what could beat him other than another horse coming up. There might be a horse actually we'll see tonight that could be on the way to competing with him maybe next year.
Okay.
But there might not be anything on the books tonight that can do it. So.
And what of the other Group 1s, what are you most looking forward to tonight?
There'd be race 7. I like Voyage Bubble. I think race 3 is the third one. Race 8 is going to be dominated by the internationals, but Voyage Bubble looks good in race 7. He's kind of another superstar at Hong Kong.
That's the Champions Mile.
That is the Champions Mile.
Is that the one Golden 61 18 times?
Yes, he was the miler. Of force at the at Hong Kong for a long time. He's fortunately retired now to North Japan, living life in some mountain village, loving life.
That's right. He's not.
That's my license plate in Arkansas. It's gold. I managed to claim it.
Is what?
My license plate on my Jeep is Golden 60. He's kind of my hero horse. I love that horse.
That's awesome. That's pretty funny.
So I imagine people, when I'm driving around here, they think it's some Golden Girls reference, but
yeah, they think you're older than you are.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And then Goliath is going in so
in the 8th, yeah. So Goliath, there's Prognosis, Goliath. There's a few of the Hong Kong runners. They're probably gonna run for the lower placings. There's also a horse, Liberty Island, that's getting a lot. I actually checked the international betting markets because my model doesn't doesn't use the data very well. When you have these international shippers, I don't have well normalized, validated data for them. So I was looking around for other sources, and in the international fixed odds markets, Liberty Island is very strong with a lot of variance too. So it seems people don't know what to do with them. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But according to international rankings, Goliath is really strong. Prognosis is really strong. So I think it's going to be up to them. Maybe Liberty Island getting a piece. And the Hong Kong runners, they just at the longer distances, because they run them so infrequently in Hong Kong, they don't optimize for those horses. So they really struggle with the longer distances. But they should be strong in the shorter distances and the other Group 1s.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes.
All right, and we also have a bet share if people want to jump on board with us on race 2. And pop that. Let's see if I can blow that up a little bit. Pretty cheap race that we were trying to put together. I thought there was some edge there, right?
Yeah. That's my strongest opinion of the night is going to be in that race, and we'll talk about it in depth. But just everything looks prime for the 3 there to get it done. It's one of just a beautiful story. The models are all telling me that we look good, and the market, at least currently, doesn't seem to like that horse. So it could be a huge edge when that comes up. Maybe
the 3?
The 3 top throne. Yeah.
All right.
So we're looking really good. So the bet share is kind of keying off that with the first time starter with Zach board as well. And then some of our other plays, which you can see the numbers later.
So
underneath.
Got some comments already. Nick Severs is saying he's been using the free PPs, doing some handicapping, and found some nice prices looking at super basic info, which is great. And I mean, you've got so many big fields to take advantage of in Hong Kong. And if there's different things that you are using, like in terms of you're talking about super basic info, that'd be interesting. Let us know. But
yeah, the free stuff at the Jockey Club, the website, everything's free, and then they actually have these PDFs. So if you can if you want to work with a PDF and not a website, you can actually download a PDF right off the website, and then they actually have free PPs through other sources in America. But I'm not exactly sure all the resources because I interface directly with the Jockey Club website for all of my modeling.
I mean, there's so much great stuff on the Hong Kong Jockey Club site. If you Google it, it's they do the pace projector, the speed maps. I know you're aware of that stuff. And for
they have, everything. So all the entry data is there. Every single past performance of every horse lifetime is there. Vet reports are there. Stewards reports are there. And then, but they also do, they actually outsource speed figure construction for the horses. It's a tool called Speed Pro, which is in the top right corner of the race card. Maybe I should say that so people know where to go. If you're not familiar with Hong Kong, go to racing.hkjc.com. And then select, you might have to toggle at the top of the webpage English to get an English version of the website. And then select Racing Info Local and Race Card. And then so if on the race card at the top right of the screen, there's a button called Speed Pro. And what Mark is showing is that. So this is one of you. Actually, Mark, if you click on one of those triangles,
okay,
you'll actually get a different view of the map, which is, they call it the speed map, which has the horses with their projected dispositions. And if you scroll down, it's kind of like their version of speed figures. They call them these energy numbers.
Okay.
I'm not sure of the team that builds that. It's a third party that they contract with to do it, but they're quite good, those numbers. I kind of validate my modeling numbers against those numbers to make sure that it's like when you need ground truth, they're probably the best ground truth for figs to start from, unless you have some other source of somebody that's building figures for Hong Kong that is also high performance. So that's a good say, especially the disposition. The speed map is quite good.
All right, so if I start back on racing, okay, so I gotta get the English.
So that's the main website. Toggle English at the top center, and you might get a warning about scans. Okay, then select Racing Info Local, and then and then race card, and then select race card, and that's how you enter the horse racing part of the Jockey Club website.
Okay.
And if it's a race day or near a race day, the race card will show up. If it's not a race day, that'll be a blank page, and you have to go to the entries page because they actually haven't, done all the draws and the weights and whatnot. So it'll be empty. But once they're ready to show you the entry card, this will appear by default.
All right. And okay, so there's Ka Ying Rising in race 5.
Ka Ying Rising. Let me go to the same page so I can see what you're seeing.
I like the last 6 runs. First.
Here's the beauty of Hong Kong. Click on, so his name is a hyperlink. Click on that hyperlink.
Okay.
And you'll get his lifetime PPs, and you want to see something that's just amazing. It's
so it came as a pop-up. So hold on, let me.
Yeah, you have to. They do pop-ups so you can see his. So he's won 11 in a row, I believe, and then he was a first-time winner, and he had 2 seconds.
11 in a row.
And look at those margins, and these are margins of victories in sprints.
Okay, so these are the 01. That's the placing.
The placing, Okay, the race date, you get the track surface configuration, distance, turf condition, level of the race, and then the draw position. So it's draw, and that's the Hong Kong rating number, trainer, jockey, and beaten lengths. Beaten lengths in red means they were the winner. If they're black, that means they weren't the winner. So it's red means distance, they were ahead of second. Black, it's how far they were from first. And you can see the odds. So he's going to go off 1 to 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
So basically, he's 12 of 14. His 2 losses are by a nose and a short head.
Correct. Nose and a short head. First time winner, which I think the most impressive. First time winner, just a beast. And the other thing you can see is how fast he's gone up the rating scale. So you can see his rating points adjustments. They gave him a 15-point bump between the end of last season and the start of this season, which it might be a record. I've never seen one. So they were like, this guy needs to be in the upper echelon. He can no longer be beating up on our slower horses.
Well, I mean, is that like almost claiming ranks at the bottom? Like he start as a first year, just mid-level stuff? You
start at class 4. So you're a first-time starter Hong Kong is a 52 rating, which is the middle. So the class 4 races, you're kind of middle. It's the first standard deviation of horses. The mean, like the average horses is a 50. So it's 40 to 60, ranking 40 to 60. And first-time starters start at 52, which is like you're basically getting 12 pounds of weight in class 4. So that's where all horses enter that don't have any prior racing history to be considered for rating points. And he's quite a beast. They come in and then, so you can see they were just pushing him up. So you were asking about, so class 4, I would be like a normal kind of a higher level claiming race in the US.
Okay.
Whereas class 5 would be low level claiming races. And then you can think of class 3 as like allowance. Class 2 would be really high quality allowance. Class 1 would be elite. You could kind of think grade 3. Maybe these are like mixing with grade 3, grade 2s.
Okay.
And the group 1s are pretty much standard like everywhere else in the world. Group 1s are group 1. So we're seeing 3 group 1s tonight. Those are international group 1 ratings, super elite races, some of the best horses in the world. Like Ka Ying Rising is the top sprinting horse in the world right now. Rated on every rating scale, I believe.
Wow. And we got a comment, Slow and Steady was saying, good time to mention place betting.
Hey, Matt. Oh, sure. So
that refer to the minimum?
No, place betting. So it works differently in Hong Kong. So they have win betting, which isn't like normal win betting like everywhere else. But place betting in Hong Kong is actually a show bet.
Right.
And it's independently pooled. So actually, if you click, I don't know if you're like, we can click on different parts of the website. They actually have the tote running. So if you go to the top right of the screen, there's a gold. Oh, no, sorry. Go to the top bar next to race card. There's current odds. Do you see that? Go to the blue banner above the orange.
Yep, I got it.
So see that orange ad at the top there?
Yeah.
There's a bar across there so it's the third from the left is the current odds button.
Yeah, I see it.
Click that. It'll bring up a new tab on the browser.
Right.
And that'll be the current odds of all the races. The pools go live 24 hours before the races start.
Yeah.
And so they should be populating. And what you can see there is the win bet odds are provided, but they also provide separately pooled place bets, which are actually show bets. So in Hong Kong, you actually know the prices of the show because the way they do a partitioning of the pools so that you know the odds.
Yeah.
And so you can actually, like, show betting can actually be a good deal. If you're modeling those kinds of statistics, you can actually show edge in place betting, which, it gets confusing.
Yeah.
And the reason it's not actually show is because it depends on the field size. So if it's, I believe, 8 or more horses, it's 3 or higher. Right. And if it's 7 or fewer horses, it's second place or higher. So you have to know what the position is that they're going to pay out for the place bet.
For some reason,
they're so big in Hong Kong, it's almost always 3 or higher. You're not able to. There you go.
Yeah.
So that's the live tote system that Hong Kong runs.
Mm-hmm.
And I prefer to view that when I'm betting because they actually give decimal odds, which are about 5% more accurate than fractional odds.
Okay.
So you can actually see the precise, they don't round down and do fractions. You actually see the actual decimals.
Every time I'm adjusting the screen, it
just kills it all. Yeah, that's fortunate. Makes for great television. And then maybe just there's that, and you can also so you can see their win price and their place price, and
so is that like 1.1 as it's
so you need to, so in Hong Kong
that's 1 to 10.
They do everything in gross odds, not net odds. So that is the actual payout of the horse for $1 wagered, right? So in the US, that 1.1 would be 1 to 9.
Yeah.
And the place would be, I guess, 1 to 100. Or it's lower than their minimum number, so 5 Hong Kong cents. So it's less than 5 Hong Kong cents being paid out for plays.
So not much.
Not much. Yeah. $1, 5 cents for $1.
But we could single them, right?
Yeah. Ka Ying Rising, is. I mean, my model doesn't have a 1 to 9, but he's been 1 to 9 every time and runs off the screen. So there might be an adjustment I need to make in my model. Or my model's hoping he gets, a cold maybe at some point.
Yeah. Or I guess you could play a little trifecta or something. I mean, if you can get the 2 and the 3 out, but they look pretty heavily favored if they're 10 and 14 and nothing else is close.
So what's interesting is that there's some new shooters here. And the Satono, let me bring this up. So Satono Rev, that horse is a very good horse. He has run at Hong Kong before. And I think, is Moreira riding tonight? Yes, that's one of the horses that Moreira's riding on.
Okay.
So he's got a great jockey. He's a very good horse. He has, again, when the limited data that I have for him, he shows the ability to run.
So there's a Japanese horse.
There's a Japanese horse. Yeah, there's two. I think there's one at the bottom, the Shin Fencer. Is that a Shin Fencer is also a Japanese horse, I believe. Yes, and has not run a Hong Kong before.
Okay.
So there's no days. So they'll populate when the horses run a Hong Kong before. They'll populate, so you see that on the race card, you'll see Satono Rev has one last 6 runs and there's only one showing. That doesn't mean the horse is a second time starter. It means they've had one prior run.
Got it. In
Hong Kong, but then the Jockey Club also provides some of their past performances from Japan, and that horse has run quite well in multiple starts. In Japan against a high-level company, Group 1 races there as well. So it's a strong horse. Again, it's just tough to do these kinds of I can't really incorporate that data into my model because it's not really normalized the same way. So it introduces a lot of error. So on these big races, when you have international in the mix, it gets very hard to handicap those races and have a lot of confidence. Fortunately, I mean, Ka Ying Rising, I think he's just too good. Something would have to go very wrong for him to not win impressively again. It's just a matter of, I mean, he's the fastest. So I always say it's according to my numbers, his average race speed is faster than the lifetime maxes of all the competition, at least for the Hong Kong horses. So he would have to run in the bottom half of his lifetime performance, including when he was a younger horse in early starts. And then a horse would have to run a lifetime top to make it a match race, which is just hard to.
So, and how on these free PPs are these speed figures any good? Where
I don't know those. I do make my own speed figures, but I've tested against the Speed Pro figures. I don't know if those are their Speed Pro figures.
Yeah, I mean they've got him. 122, 115, 120. I guess this horse, the 2 did run a 113 last time. But like you said, when the 2 Satono Rev ran in Shaotin, they've got him with a 109, which wouldn't really touch Ka Ying Rising.
Yeah. But it's a nice horse, very nice horse. So hopefully, nobody in Hong Kong can touch him. So they bring in some of these Japanese horses that say maybe they can do it. Maybe there's some hidden value in that horse. I don't know. He'll be impressive to see run again. Every time I thought, you think maybe he's going to find trouble tonight. Maybe he's going to be off his game. But he's only been really off once, and he still won. But you could tell Zach really had to urge him.
I saw he got a good draw. Let's see. He's got post 4. Yeah. This says post 0 for some reason.
So the Shatin course, especially the A course, so they're running on like the first rail position at Shatin is very fair. So they have a nice long run to the turn. And Ka Ying Rising has exceptional early pace as well. So he's kind of this horse. He's just push button. He clears. He gets over to the rail. He likes to stalk with cover, and then just exiting the turn, he just drifts out and turns on the jets and wins by open flanks. It's pretty much every race other than the one, I can't remember how many back that was. He had a little bit of trouble, and the crowd was gasping that Zach actually had to urge him. That might have been the December 8th race. He only won by half a length. So there was some panic in the crowd that night.
And that was, what did he win by?
He won by half a length.
Okay.
Yeah. And he really had to, he was urged. I don't think, Zach usually just has him powered down and it's just handwriting. But that, you could tell there was some urgency there. I can't remember the exact trip. I don't even think he got fenced in. He just wasn't on his game. He was a little bit slow.
Yeah. So
he had to work for it.
Slow and Steady saying surprised that Lucky, how do you say that?
Swainess. Lucky Swainess. I have so let me look at my numbers there.
But I mean, being off a year off a surgery.
Yes,
I agree with that.
It's race 5. So I have him going off at 13.5. Where do the tote has him at 10, and according to my model, the Japanese horse will be second. Swainess will be third choice, and then it's a big gap to everybody else on my numbers.
Okay.
And then the international market, where is that? I could take a look. Because what I was doing was I was looking at the international runners, and I was taking the fixed market odds and I was plugging them back into my lines to see how it adjusted assuming they have better knowledge about those numbers than I do. Mm-hmm. And then putting it back into my system and seeing how it looked. What race is this? So that's Goliath. So that would be 8765. And so the international market has Satona Rev going off at 8. And then where is he at? That's 16. So that's I mean, I'm a little more aggressive on both of those sources. So I think that top 3 is more grouped than the international fixed odds. But they're comparable. They're not wildly off.
Okay.
And they're saying 1 to 5 on Ka Ying Rising, which is about what my model has, but I think he's going to drop. He's going to get that. Everybody wants to have the ticket in.
He's going to go down from what
he could be. So, he's like, since I've started following Hong Kong, they've had just this series of super, I got in on the tail end of Golden 60s career. He was, in his last couple seasons, and I started following, and he was such a superstar. But then you have, California Spangle kind of was rising, and then his form just kind of dropped off drastically. Then you had Romantic Warrior come up. Ka Ying Rising came up last season, and they just had just a ton of superstars. And like, what's great, one of my favorite things about Hong Kong is they're not going to retire because they're all geldings. So you have the pleasure of knowing Golden 60 was 8 when he crushed. And I think the last Hong Kong model, just that famous video where he turned on the jets and blew everybody away. He was an 8-year-old, and they were thinking about running him at 9, and then I think there was some training setbacks, and they thought better of it and retired him.
But he won that? He won this race 3 times.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's what the deal with the PPs is. He won. So actually, do you want to see how to do it?
Sure.
So you can get the lifetime PPs of any horse at the Jockey Club.
All right, let me switch my screen. So
yeah, you want to go back to the racing local page, and there's a horses tab, and you can look up the statistics on any Hong Kong racehorse.
Will this work?
Yeah, right there. So go to that blue banner again where you found them. See where the race card is highlighted? That row. Yeah, there you go. Horses. Click horses.
Okay.
And then just type Golden 60 in the search bar, and you'll get that's the access point to lifetime PPs of any horse that had a Hong Kong registry number. And it's lifetime, which is great. It's not like last 10 or anything. It's the whole career, and you can see. So just this slew.
Right? Slew of ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. They break it out into seasons.
Yeah, they break it out by season.
So, well, it would have been the grade 1, right? So this.
It'd be the end of April, Group 1 race.
It's this race here.
Yeah, right there. And he won it. So 1, 2, 3, and then he finished 4th. Yeah, that's
3 in a row and a 4th. Not bad.
And that was kind of the changing the guard. I mean, he was 8. He's running 8.
So odds-wise, so that means he won it at 2 to 10, and then I guess that's 2 to 5, 2 to 5.
It's 2 to 5, right? Because it's the gross. That's the payout. So 2 to 5, 2 to 5.
Yeah.
And then if you look at that, where is the one where he got the? It wasn't this race. That's right. It was the. I think I think that's the mile, the Hong Kong mile. That he got the wide draw and he won it. His second to last race. Just a beast.
Oh, yeah, the draw 14.
But that was the race. So that kind of the famous video of him. Just a beast.
So,
but Romantic Warrior, if you go to Romantic Warrior's lifetime PPs, you can see he's a better horse. It's hard for me to say that, but
so he was 31 starts, 26 wins. That's pretty strong.
But Romantic Warrior has already surpassed him in kind of total prestige, total earnings. Romantic Warrior's gone internationally and won like that. Yeah. Let me just do it here. That screen's too small for me to see.
Yeah, sorry.
So these are, so we're kind of in this golden age of horses there. They're just studs.
Yeah, that's a little better.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I say this as I'm thinking, like Romantic Warrior just had 2 brutal beats.
Yeah.
One running on the turf. He went to the turf just to prove he could do it. Almost.
You mean the dirt at Saudi Cup Day?
That was Saudi. That was the
Saudi Cup, right?
Saudi, and what am I thinking? It was I'm blanking. The Japanese horse.
Yeah, Forever Young beat him by.
Forever Young beat him. Yeah. And then he ran on the turf and got just beaten by a nose. But just think, first time start on the turf in like a Group 1 race, lost by a nose. Just a monster. So.
Yeah. What do you mean?
And I believe he's geared down now. They're not going to run him again for a while. He's coming back. He's going to just kind of do the elite stuff. So he's not coming back till next season, I believe. I heard that. That's like maybe late fall next year. So.
That's cool. All right, so let's talk about
sure.
The what about the Group 1 with Goliath? Well, that's the 8th.
That's race 8, I believe. Okay, so how we kind of alluded to how I thought about this, because my model, this race in particular, is a real weakness for me, and I mean I'm a model-based player. Like I don't read PPs, so what I need to do in order to come up with something coherent for this is I took my line that my model's generating, and I took the international market lines, and I fused them together.
Mm-hmm.
And then I renormalized the probabilities, redid the takeout, and recomputed the line. And so with that combined line, because I know my Hong Kong model line is really strong, so I want to preserve that. I'd trust my odds over the book's odds for that portion of it. But these other horses, when they're blending in, I'm a little bit blind. And so that line, I have prognosis. So the combined line has prognosis at 3.3 as the favorites. And Goliath at 4.2. And then, oh, I'm sorry. No, that's not correct. I was even Liberty Island. So when I did that merge, this was a surprise. When I did the merged line, I have Liberty Island at 2.9.
Should I put your spreadsheet up? There's a lot of data there.
It's not going to be there. It's not going to be on that. This is something separately I did off screen from what I gave you. I don't know if I can share this just to show you how I did a simple calculation.
I can share the PPs while you talk.
Okay. There, I have it there if you want to. Let me just see.
You could probably do a screen share. Yeah.
I'm just doing the like an Excel spreadsheet. Can you see that?
Yeah, I think if I stop, hold on. If I stop screen sharing, I think it'll. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So basically, combine these two lines, you get a big, you get these weird point line at the.
Yeah, I can't see it. Oh, here we go. All right.
I see a tab with it. Yeah, so that's it. It's a little bit small.
Okay.
But this is basically a kind of a thumbnail. Like, how would I integrate these two pieces of information in a fair way? So I take my odds, their odds. I convert to probability. Control for takeout.
Can you blow it up one more time?
Sorry, excuse me.
Can you blow it up one more time?
Oh, yeah. Let me.
If you expand.
You're actually seeing this, so.
Yeah, that's nice.
Is perfect. That works? Okay. So this was the line that my model spit out with all of the bad data from those international runners. Like, I just don't have good numbers on the international runners. Like, prognosis, I had a better number because there was some data from Hong Kong, and that was interfacing with the machine learning model. But for Goliath, there's nothing. So what I did was I took these numbers, and then for the international horses, I placed the international fixed odds markets odds in. I kind of averaged over all of the books to kind of get an estimate of where those numbers should be. I adjusted them for takeout, and then I converted them to probabilities, and then renormalized the probabilities to sum to 1, and then put takeout back in, and then that's the new line on the right.
Okay.
As a way to just use some simple math to say, well, how can I get an idea of how my odds compared to the international market odds in some sort of quasi-fair way to do it quick, like down and dirty. And I was surprised to find out just, like with this readjustment, Liberty Island looks really strong. So, and I don't know anything about this horse. So let's take a look at, that's race 8. So the current market has him at 8, which is much, much higher than the fixed odds market. Glass at 4.5. Prognosis is at 4. Sorry, I'm talking about the current Hong Kong tote.
Okay. Which
is going to change a lot, right? I mean, it's going to drop, but like currently you can see it's tracking. So they have Goliath at 4.5, which they have prognosis at 4.6. They have Tastira at 9.8. Caliph at a big number, it's 46, 8, 20, 13. So trade tracks. I mean, it's kind of interesting. The only outlier is Liberty Island, so there's no betting really. You're not seeing the betting on the 11 that the bookies internationally think you should be seeing. But it's early. We got 8 races to go. But I wouldn't be surprised if, that might not be the right number. There's confidence intervals around all these things. Like, what's interesting is my line, my base-off line, agrees with what the tote says right now at Hong Kong, but disagrees wildly with the books. So that's okay. Right. Like, it's almost the exact same numbers. It might be that people that bet at Hong Kong are looking at the forums with the same kind of information available that I have when I pull data from Hong Kong. So they're making the same kind of mistakes. and that's why when the international bookies at least incorporate a lot of this information, so it's a good way to incorporate that. Down and dirty way to do it. But I'd be very worried unless I was seeing big margins to bet numbers that are computed this imprecisely. Sure.
So let me flip for a second. Looking at his PPs, so yeah. So it looks like Liberty Island.
Where's my notes?
Yeah, ran second to Romantic Warrior 2 starts.
Yeah, that's my note, right? So what I have is Liberty Island ran second to Romantic Warrior. So that he was within 1.5 lengths of him. So that's pretty good. And he's already beat a bunch of horses in this race, right? He so those were kind of my 2 notes, other than the odds, which I said, given the way I built these odds, what they're telling me, I would bet Prognosis or Liberty Island. Prognosis, he's run well at Hong Kong before. He finished in the neck of Romantic Warrior like a year ago, right? In this same race a year ago. He was within a neck of the best horse in the world. And then Liberty Island ran second to Romantic Warrior in a different race last season. But again, both of these horses were fast enough to at least be within spitting distance of the best horse in the world, which makes them, I would use that as a very good benchmark to play them. And I said, based on what I'm seeing, I'd play anything over 3.3 for Prognosis and anything over 3 for Liberty Island. If you're getting odds above that, you might be in the realm of a positive EV bet. So that's how I would break it down, given the limited information I have.
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean,
people that really, like if I don't have it perfect, I probably would just pass. But if you kind of playing fast and loose, that's the calculus I went through to try and think of how would I come up with a way to talk about this race and bet it and have at least some fair odds number to think about. And that really puts the Goliath out of it. Honestly, I think he's not going to be valued the way that the markets are all pointing. Might be a great horse, but not necessarily the best bet in the race.
So handicapping wise on this horse, one thing, obviously notice he's lifetime, 8 of 11 the exacta. But one thing I looked at on the international horses sometimes is if you just start looking over here at these layoff lines, this is, the horse basically, he's running in like little sprints of 2 races. And it's like there's the prep and then there's the bigger race. And so he's second, and then the second off the layoff he wins. Then in this little two race sprint, he won both.
Okay.
But he went from 2.1 million to 2.3 million. Okay, kind of the same. Then in this one, he won the prep at $1.4 million, but then he went to was that the Japan Cup for $6 million race and ran a really good second. So like that was like the prep for the $6 million race. Then he went to Dubai. There was no follow up there. And then last fall, same thing. So he prepped with finished 13th. So that was kind of like, not too hot on the off the prep. But then he came in here and at Hong Kong, and he went to a $5 million race, and that's where he just missed a Romantic Warrior. And now we see the same pattern again. Is off the layoff, he runs 8th, which is kind of a stinker for him, but it should propel him forward. And what's the purse of this race? It's probably more than $1.4 million.
It is. It's in Hong Kong dollars, but it's about 13 cents to the dollar. So do some.
It says 3.6. Is that Hong Kong or US?
It'll be in Hong Kong dollars. So 3.6 million. Oh, maybe do they convert them? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Does the tariffs affect the purse earnings?
So that's and I haven't checked the dollar conversion because it's fluctuated a lot. But historically, since I've been following Hong Kong, it's 13 cents. So you divide by 10, then multiply, like 1.3.
Yeah.
And
it's probably not a $400,000 race, though.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting? Hong Kong, the purses aren't, given the amount of betting on these races, just the amount of handle, the purses aren't insane. They're good. Day in and day out, like the purses are good on the handicap races, but given the amount of betting that takes place at Hong Kong, we're going to see win pools. Well, we can look, like, what does the win pool look like? And for already, well, it's pretty early. So there are 1.1 million Hong Kong dollars in the win pool. There's 6 million total Hong Kong dollars. So almost, we're getting, let's see, 600,000, yeah. So we're almost at $1 million US, and it's like 3 hours to post
So
for race 8.
Keith, so here's some objections from the chat on passing.
What's passing, Matt? Yeah. I'm, so I mean, if I'm really betting, like the computer betting, I pass a lot of races. I'm only betting about half the races. Like the model's only picking, again, win betting. I'm still trying to develop out a model that can.
Yeah. So you're using a model saying when there's overlays, and when there's no overlay, you just wait for the next.
I just pass. I don't feel bad about passing. There's always next race. I would love to be able to bet every race and show lifetime profit. That would be fantastic.
I think some of us need to get better at passing, myself included.
Yeah. Bet that I would call that, it's not passing, it's employing good bet selection.
Fair enough. Speaking of bets, just wanted to show again, we've got our Twin Spires bet share. So if anybody wanted to get some cheap action, almost like passing, if that's your only bet, it's only $2.40 to get a share.
It's not showing. I put into that. I actually put in 10 units, so I feel good about that 3.
All right.
It's not showing it in the ticker on my screen anywhere.
Oh. I don't know.
I wanted to get in. I feel like that 3 is a prime bet for me. Like I don't see what the models all lining up like that very often. So
yeah, in this race,
my prime bet mode.
Okay, all right. In this race, we talked about like it's pretty cheap, and there's a lot of firsters and whatnot. But yeah. Anyway, so that's our bet share. All right, N is asking.
Who's in?
Here, I'll put a comment.
25. Well, the win is 17.5. Exact is like 17. Doubles are 17.5. The other exotics, I'm not sure. I don't play them really. Like I'm just not doing it regularly. But they're low 20s, I think. Hong Kong's I think of Hong Kong as like Kentucky. It's roughly the same takeouts, and they have 0 breakage, so it's very similar.
Okay. Sloan Study thinks it's 3.6 million US. That might be right because it's probably converted.
Are you looking at the wrong number? At the purse?
Yeah.
Let me see. You're looking at the wrong place.
I'm at the PPs, but it's US.
Oh, wait, let me go to the race card. Race 8. Sorry, I didn't even check.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's 28 million Hong Kong. So that would be 2.8 times 1.3. So yeah, he's right. Yeah.
All right, cool.
And 7 is also probably 24 million, yeah. And then 5, the sprint is 22 million Hong Kong.
All right, why don't we talk about race 7 for a minute, and then we'll jump over to the first race.
Sure. Race 7.
So race 7 is the Champions Mile.
I did the same thing as I did before, where I did a mixed. I mixed my model with the international model, international odds. Let me see. Where is that? I can bring that up again. I close it off. And I could share that again.
Okay.
This is, oh yeah, here it is right here, Mr. Brightside. Let me do a similar thing. Okay. And so again, the first column here is what my model spit out, but it's definitely inhibited by some of the foreign runners. So then I basically in this column, I mixed the books with my model, then did the adjustments like we talked about before. And this is the output line. And that line was agreeing really nicely with the tote the last time I looked. And so what do you want to do? Sorry, can you see that or did I kill it? No, you can see it. Let me see my notes. So I also, so another thing is I had the pace projecting to be good. And so the contenders, the international contenders, I said Mr. Brightside looks good at 6.1. My Wish looks good at 8.7. Voyage Bubble is going to be even money. So with the wide draw, he might not be able to use his speed to get in position. I projected him to be, and again, this is my model. So my model does a lot of fancy things now. It actually does positional predictions of like the disposition of the horses in the race, kind of how Speed Pro does. I have my own system that uses a lot of Monte Carlo simulation to do it. And I have him in a tight spot, actually. He's going to be in between horses, maybe second rank, entering the final turn. And actually, let me make sure I have the visual of that up so I can see it when I'm talking. Yeah, he's going to be in a spot. So that gave me a little pause. I have, 5.8 would be somewhere around where fair would be. And so with this merge line, what I thought, or sorry, one, that's Voyage Bubble, even money. What I thought was the play in the 7th race is Galaxy Patch. So on that line, he should be at 5.8. That's what I have in my notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5.8. And so what I have him in so he's the 6 horse, right? Yeah, so my projected disposition, he's going to be on the rail trailing saving ground. And his late pace figures tower over the field. So I have in my figure system, my pace figure system for Hong Kong, he's a 145 late pace, which is a huge number. Wow. Whereas like Voyage Bubble is a 138, for example. And Voyage Bubble has some late pace ability. So that I really like the possibilities at that price, 5.8. With this late pace, and then I also have them. So I have another model now that this is very beta, but it's actually a trip projection system where I look at how the conditional probability of a horse winning varies based on their the rank and path they're in. And I have Galaxy Patch, it scores an 88. So it's the percentile of all trips he could get. What trips he going to get? He's going to get an 88 percentile trip. And his confidence interval includes basically all of the the 100, all of the better locations on the map. His confidence intervals include. So I really feel like Galaxy Patch is going to get a great trip, and at a decent price. If you can see something over like that, maybe 6-1 or higher, that would feel like a good bet to me. Just the way that my modeling system works, I would feel really good about that. So it'd be nice. And I and I really I've gravitated towards playing longer shots, especially Hong Kong. It's so validating because you can get them all the time. It's, Ka Ying Rising, he's going to be short and win, but you can beat some of these shorter price horses at Hong Kong. And I love Voyage Bubble. I'm a big fan of the superstar horses, but I really like this play. So something along the lines of Galaxy Patch north of 6. If I was live on the tote to that would feel good.
Okay.
And he's got Zach aboard too, which doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
We'll see how that plays out. What is the tote has him at 9.2 right now. And the other thing is, are you going to get Zach? It's very rare to see Zach above, 3 or 4. This might be the time to do it. He's going to have good pace to run into. Again, the pace projector has him at good. So. Yeah, I like that in this. This was of the group ones. That was kind of the models were telling me a story that kind of all clicked together. I don't really have anything to beat Ka Ying Rising. There's just nothing there. And the 2,000 meter race was just there's just too many unknowns with the international runners. But this I have enough good information from the Hong Kong runners. This is in the Hong Kong runners' wheelhouse. The models are telling me a story that makes a lot of sense. So this looked like a good bet.
All right. I like it. And then did they have, I was going to say, it looks like there's only one pick 3. Did they have, well, I'm probably not going to.
Sorry. They again, I believe they usually have an early and a late pick 3. The late pick 3 is, and again, Slow and Steady covers this on his own podcast.
There's late pick 3 and 8, 9
is the last 3 races, and then the early pick 3 is. Oof,
it looks like it's 3, 4, 5.
3, 4, 5. I think he said that before. I think that's always the case. The early pick 3 is the 3, 4, 5, and the late pick 3 is the last 3, depending on the length of the card. That sounds right to me. I've heard that before.
Okay.
Again, I can't wait to start betting those, but I got to build out the ticket generation system that'll do it correctly. That is not how my brain works.
Oh, yeah, race 3.
He's saying that's right, so he had it right.
Yeah. All right, cool. Why don't we jump into the first race, because we got just a little bit before race 1.
And let's see, the first race. I can give you a quick.
You got 19 minutes.
Yeah, so we have 3 minutes. So I project the post time frame. Well, we can look it up. It's pretty close. I had Beauty Viva going to be 3-1. And the tote's telling me I'm wrong. I had Beauty Viva being 3-1 and most likely winner 3.6 fair. Projected trip has Beauty Viva on the rail mid-pack saving ground. Will be closing and passing Ninja Derby and Oriole Smoke.
The 2 we're talking about?
Beauty Viva is the 2. Sorry. Yeah, the 2 I have. So I do all of my disposition and all of my pace, disposition, and everything is done at 800 meters to the finish, which at Sha Tin is about 75 meters into the final turn. That's where I do all of my modeling for mid-race understanding. It's it's a position that Hong Kong spends a lot of time meticulously documenting what's going on at that point. And so all of my like within race encoding and decoding systems focus on that. So when I'm talking about what I mean by disposition and where they are, that's at that point in the race. Because it gives you a good idea of like how much ground they're going to lose as they're going around the turn, and like who fought for position to get into that position. So so what I said, so there, yeah. So he's going to be, so the 2, I have the 2 passing as that point happens, passing the 3 and 11, and the fair odds. My model has it going low as 2, depending on exactly where in the pack he is. However, so my modeling system is based on Kelly, right? So I was saying he might not be the best bet from a Kelly perspective, because I believe on my Kelly system he's actually negative. Race 1. So I have Beauty Viva as a minus 3.6%. So I wouldn't actually bet that horse. It's just he's the most likely winner, and he's going to be a fairly short price. What I have is the most bettable horse in this race. So this race would likely be a pass for my system. But
should I share your spreadsheet?
Yeah, go. You want to share it?
Yeah.
Go ahead. So I am. I hope I'm saying the right thing. Yeah. They should all agree with what I was just. Yeah. So you can see the off and the fair.
Talking about Beauty Viva.
Yeah, those 2. So that's right. But there's no value there. His edge is negative. His Kelly is negative. So what I would bet, if I was going to bet, based on, if I had to bet this race and I was playing long term, I would bet the 10. So again, a long shot horse, but I have his fair lower than his off.
Okay. So that's so that's an 80% edge?
Yeah, it doesn't work. So there's so much error in these models that you can't take the edge at face value. It's like it's a distribution over edge. And so actually I do empirical studies. So what I have is that Kelly, so I don't bet Kelly as like a fractional bankroll either. I basically have a scaling system that goes from Kelly numbers to betting numbers, and it's not a fractional bankroll. And then I have that empirical over the last year. That Kelly value would lose between 9 and 1% with a mean loss of 5%. So you're beating take up by 12%. That's the best, from my model's perspective, the best you can do in this race is lose 5%.
The best, say that again?
The best you can possibly do in this race, according to my model, is lose 5%.
Okay.
You're just trying to minimize your loss. This race just doesn't have a juicy opportunity to be.
But even with the edge of 0.8 on the 10, that's not enough.
Right. No, because that's like a 3.3% Kelly value. So even though it's a positive Kelly value, when I actually look empirically, the error in the Kelly value creates a situation where it's actually negative ROI in the long run.
Yeah. So you're basically saying there's a small edge on the 13-1 shot, but he's only going to win X amount, so it's not that much edge.
It's so the intersection of the two odds lines, the error. Yeah. Because in Kelly, right, you remember, like Kelly, if the odds are anti-correlated, you're actually betting the wrong direction, and the probability of that happening more than the other direction causes you to have negative ROI potentially. So you, so you got to actually do the empirical statistics if you're going to use Kelly, and you shouldn't bet Kelly against the bankroll directly, like because there's error. So the Kelly criterion is based on like probabilities are known with no error. So if there's error in your models, and there's tons of error in these models, you need to understand the effects of error on Kelly, and it has big effects. And people talk about, like Dennis Montoro talks about this all the time. Like you have to be careful. You really have to understand what you're doing. You can't just blindly use Kelly. But you need to use, what I like Kelly is it's a good balance of risk reward, right? So it's edge divided by the off odds. And so it balances those two properties well. So I really feel like it's the valuable metric for making bets. It's just not, you can't just take it face value to make, like to bet off of. You have to do some more work to figure out when Kelly's telling you it's a profitable bet versus not.
Okay.
Let's see what the computer teams are probably active now, and
that 10 is at 32-1. Let's.
It's a little higher than, yeah.
I'm gonna pull up the PPs and just see like what your model might have picked up on. Is he dropping because he's 0 for 7 lifetime with never hitting the board?
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, it's weird. My tote isn't updating as well as it normally is. Is something wrong? Oh, I know why. Because I have. Hold on, my tote wasn't even. There. Okay. I mean, my line is missing a little bit. Yeah. Not bad, but not great.
And then you had the 2 as the most likely winner.
I had the 2 as the off odds favorite and the most likely winner.
Okay. With Zach
It's off by about $1. No, actually, mine. So again, so that's the other thing. Here's the other thing. The odds that I gave you in the spreadsheet are American style net odds. So you have to add 1 to all of them.
Oh, okay.
So Hong Kong's tote displays in gross odds, so the payout. But the odds, I always think of, because the American system it came up, like we use net. So Americans use net fractional odds. Hong Kong uses gross decimal odds, and you have to know that. You need to be aware of that if you're looking at their tote system. Now, if you're opening in this in your ADW, it does the American style system. It does the correction for you. But, yeah, that took a long time to get used to. Is the tote system in Hong Kong is gross odds, which is just very, very.
Well, it's like
gotta remember that.
Yeah, more like sports odds. A little bit. There we go.
I don't bet sports, but yeah, that is a big caveat. You got to remember that when you're looking at their tote system. So yeah, actually, I have it. I had. So yeah, he's dropping now. So Beauty Viva just dropped.
7-2 now.
Are you gonna play? Or you're not allowed to sleep. Oh, we still got what they're saying. They're saying 11 minutes.
Yeah.
So we still got time. Sorry, I thought it was kicking off right at 11:30, but it's 11:45 then. Right. Yeah, so that's a caveat. So the odds that we're talking about on the spreadsheet, when I say them out loud, I'm giving you American net odds, but we got to always remember to correct for Hong Kong odds, because I'm actually looking at the Hong Kong tote instead of an American tote. And there's another thing, if you want to. Another thing that might be cool to show people live would be if you could show them the forecast tote, because you can actually see the coloring system. We'll start. Okay. It's not active yet, but give it maybe 2 minutes to tote. Oh, there's the feed. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the feed.
The American feed.
Yeah, just tell me when to go look at the tote.
Yeah. So there's no way to do. Well, it would be maybe another race we could do it just to show. It'll be around 90 seconds to post. You'll see. So Hong Kong is one of the things I love about Hong Kong. There's a million reasons I love Hong Kong, but again, it's just an amazingly well-produced racing product for one. But they really try to help bettors understand what's going on, especially in Hong Kong when there's millions of dollars in the pools. Ka teams are active in Hong Kong. So the tote system is colored. It's like they run their own tote system, so there's very low latency. And they color the tote board so you can see odds velocities going up and down. And there's this terminology system. I see on the wrong lead. Trolling, I love it. So the tote system is colored. So basically what they're doing is they use a timestamp, and over intervals of time, they look to see what's the percentage that odds are changing. And then they color in the odd system at those that are changing. And they use, it's called a green lamp and a brown lamp. So green lamping means the odds have dropped by 25%, 20%, excuse me. And brown lamping is 50%. So towards the, I mean, we all know, it's not just Ka teams, like everybody bets late now because everybody bets on ADWs.
Right.
Or most, the vast majority of people in the world, especially Hong Kong, when it's, it's going to be $17 million US bet on a race. All over the world. So money's flowing in, it flows in late. And so you'll see around 90 seconds, you'll start to see in the, we call it the exacta, they call it the forecast. And the Quinella pools, you'll start to see these, in these pools that are smaller, that are more sensitive to bets, you'll start seeing the colors change. And that gives you visual cues of like, okay, these are the horses that the teams are likely on, the late money's on. How does that look compared to my wager? And then what I found, again, through my own experiences following this and watching the tote live, is that you have about 30 seconds because there's so much money in the pools, you don't get the rug pulled on last flash. You get about 30 seconds to make a decision if you have a wager on a horse that's brown lamped, do you want to keep that wager on? Because the art, the kind of game theory as well, the computer teams like it, so it's probably the right horse, but then the price is going to be likely lower than what you were thinking it was going to be. And you kind of have to gain the experience of and it doesn't happen all the time. It might be maybe one out of 4 races that occurs. But what's so great about Hong Kong is they give you the tools to know that's happening and to make decisions in a time frame that a human being can actually make a rational decision about. If you don't need a computer system to make the bet. You have a chance.
Okay.
I actually bet, and I bet off tote now. Like I don't even bet against the live tote. So what I've done is built in, because there's error in my off odds projections, I just build in a safety margin with Kelly, and I can reliably bet, and at the tail still have high confidence of being long-term profitable without actually direct tote access. There's still some meat in the bone in Hong Kong where you can get away with doing that in the win pool, which is, given it's like the most information dense pool to play in. There's still, because it's big fields, it's highly competitive because of the handicapping system, and you can get, like this week at Happy Valley, there was I think 4 horses on the card that paid over $40. It was ridiculous.
Wow.
it was great. It was just bombs.
And you had some of them?
I did. Skycap, I had the model like Skycap. And so that, again, you don't have to hit many when you're hitting horses like that.
Right. So I guess they're liking the 5 on their ratings by quite a bit.
What do you?
The bottom right of the screen, just above our heads there.
Yeah, I don't actually, I don't use any of these data. But But whoever's running this simulcast, I don't even know what that means. Actually, that number, some international rating or.
All right, so let's not pay attention to that.
Yeah, I don't know. Paul Lally is quite good. He's the guy that I was told. I don't know this for sure, but I was told he's the guy that actually makes the speed maps for Speed Pro, and they are very good, like well validated, very good. Oh, of course, I need to step off.
Is it really? Is it really 5 minutes?
I'll wait.
They're already at the gate.
4 minutes. Yeah, you'll see. It's really cool how they do it. So they run races very differently there. So they have this netting. There's like a group of people with like a netting, and they slowly corral the horses. It's kind of like very passive. They just slowly close the netting around the gate until the horses are kind of forced to go in. I gotta go off. My dog is actually pushing a bull and making tons of noise. Let me just go down.
Do that. All right, so we've got 4 minutes. I'm going to flip back to Keith's ratings here and take a look what he had for the first. All right, let me expand that a little bit. I'm pulling your ratings back up.
I gotta say, my model wouldn't bet this race, but if I was gonna bet, I would expect, like, if I bet it 1,000 times, I'd make money betting. I'd lose a little bit of money betting Ping High Comet. But if I was just betting to win, I would definitely. For me, it's PD Vivo. I think that teams are going to drop that horse right at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's confidence intervals on all these things. Like at longer odds like that, at the top of my head, what the 50% interval is, maybe a whole point.
There's a huge late pace number on the 4 here. That you have some edge on the 4.
Let me see who they did. Heavy on the 5, race 1. So Matt likes Volcanic Spark. Let's see. Nick likes. Who else is in there? It's just, I see Matt, I see Nick. I think you guys are the only heroes this late, at least the ones that are talking.
Yeah.
This is like the band of misfits, the Hong Kong. There's the core group of Hong Kong misfits that stay up and do this stuff. It's bananas.
That's
Maybe
great.
Sean's up tonight, but he's just not on the on the broadcast.
What about, I like to play trifectas and stuff. This 4, so you've got them at 11-1, and he's 20-1 right now. Maybe I can use him to like hit the board. You're like, no, that's not
the boss. You fire away. You know how I am. I'm a scientist, man. If I can't give you p-values and confidence intervals, you can wing it. It's fine. You're really successful doing it. You and Ed, fire away.
Fire away. I'm going to bring the video back up.
I think I'm going to be wrong, though, on my off odds by a bit. It looks like Matsu Victor's going to be the favorite.
Yeah.
I don't see any lamping. I mean, it's really pretty. Oh, there we go. Actually, the tote now just popped. So I'm seeing a bunch of green lamps going through the 6 and the 10.
Yeah, the 10 was your bomb.
Yeah.
Based on your odds.
Yeah, the 6 and the 10. Lamping. And the 3 also. 10, 3. No, this is 1,800 meters. Yeah, turf A. So it's still at Shatin, that's a 1 turn. It's like a super long. That's the back end of the chute.
Okay.
I believe. Yeah. 1 turn, 1,800 meter. So it's a super long run to the turn, so plenty of time to get position. Am I right? Am I looking at the right race? Wait. Am I looking? Yeah, the track and fake. Sorry.
Somebody's getting help there to load.
Is there a first timer? No first timers. It's all kind of these are bread and butter horses here, kind of horses that have found their level and are kind of just trending horizontally.
I'm with Nick. I'm firing away here. I'm using the 4, 6, and 10 as prices in the try. How about that?
4, 6, and 10.
Yeah. See, Nick gave me permission to fire away. I mean, it's a 20-cent try, so.
Oh, brown lamping. So we got brown lamping on the 10. Yeah, the 10 was the right cost. I'm telling you, the brown lamps hit right at the end on the 10.
Oh, really?
In combos with the 6, in combos with the 3.
10's 39-1 on the U.S. tote.
And Beauty Viva went off the favorite. Thank you very much at 3-1. Boom.
All right. See, I guess I could put it on the sound.
On the rail, Oriental Smokers fourth and a length and a half to Pinghai Comet. Against the fences, Clark Racer from Matsu Victor 3 wide. The centre is Volcanic Spark and the rail Beauty Viva. Second last is Casa Papa, and a length and a half away last of all is Joyful Prosperity. That's the order with 1,000 metres left to go, and Smiling Collector leads the way. He's out by a length and a half over Ninja Derby. Youth Power third, Oriental Smokers fourth, and Gluck Racer fifth on the inside from Pinghai Comet Racing one off. Matsu Victor's going 3 wide the trip from Volcanic Spark, Casa Papa going 3 wide. Then came Beauty Viva, and a length away last of all is Joyful Prosperity. 600 metres left to go, and it's Smiling Collector, the leader by a length over Ninja Derby and Youth Power. 3 wide is Oriental Smoke, 4 wide is Pinghai Comet. Then Gluck Racer, Volcanic Spark and Casa Papa next. Leader under pressure here. Smiling Collector attacked inside and out by Youth Power and Pinghai Comet. Then Ninja Derby, Oriental Smoke, Beauty Viva cut a path through on the inside. Youth Power's run to the front, 200 metres to go. 2 lengths on Beauty Viva. Wider out as Pinghai Comet. Youth Power though on the inside is finding plenty. It's the perfect start for David Hayes. Youth Power wins the first. Youth Power beat home Beauty Viva and either Oriental Smoke or Pinghai Comet. Then Joyful Prosperity. Next in Gluck Racer, followed in by Volcanic Spark and Smiling Collector, Casa Papa, Ninja Derby and Matsu Victor. He raced wide and he ran last.
He got green lamped.
Youth Power number 9, Karis Teaton and David Hayes at 7.1 and 2.5. Has beaten 2 Beauty Viva, Zach Purton at 1.6 and 3 Oriental Smoke at 1.6. 10's going to run fourth.
Yeah, 10 ran fourth. That's why we need superfectas.
You know, if you ran that race 1,000 times, the 10 would have been third. Quite a few of them, right?
Yeah, that was a nice call after. I mean, 46.
I didn't have the 9. What is the 9? I don't remember having the 9 anywhere. I had him at off 10, fair 49. So no,
49. That's a big fade.
Yeah, I faded him hard. So Teaton, though, you know, any other agreement? His speed figures were not there. What about his decoded? No, I had nothing. I could have never got to that horse with the model. Late wasn't really there. Early, his early was average. The computer teams are just better. They have. Was it maybe the works? Something popped. How would you?
Do they have works besides the barrier trial, or is that the only work?
Yeah, they have. They have the barrier trials are just races. The works are actually separately documented.
Okay, so they're not in the PP. Huh.
Does he have a? So the other thing that I do, I actually track EIPH.
Yeah, the rails.
He had a 0 EIPH score lifetime.
Yeah, the 9 got pounded late.
Yeah. They knew. I don't know. That's why it's a great game.
So he just sat on third on the rail. Is that he's in the green there, right?
That's exactly what I had, right? Well, not exactly, but very close. That the 800 meter to finish disposition was quite close to what I had, except the 6 was way too forward compared to what I was predicting.
Mm-hmm. I mean, is the rail good, or is it just that maybe there wasn't that much speed in here? So
So I've actually run stats, and the rail is so if you the being in first position on the rail across all levels, all distances at 800 meters to finish is a 16% win rate. It's the best position to be. There's no other having cover is not an advantage. It is a relative advantage to being too wide. So it's slightly better probability being second position on the rail than being too wide. So I've run all those so I basically have like the conditional probabilities of all the locations on the map at that position. So rail is better. I mean, you're saving ground.
Yeah.
Surf racing.
Yeah, on the wrong lead was saying maybe they bet
is a slightly better thing than being wide. So like you're obviously the stats show that wind resistance matters and it burns energy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you want to be on like still the best position. It'd be better to be on the lead than be behind a leader. If you're burning energy but have position, it's better across all, like not taking account any other factor other than position. It's better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you had the 9 as the most early pace, other than the 11. You had higher.
Yeah. I had the 9 on my speed map. I had the 3 and 11 were in the first rank, 3 inside, 11 outside, 9 second rank inside, 10 second rank outside. Then the 2 would be in third rank on the rail, like inside. That was kind of the top half of the field was disposed like that, and that was pretty much right on, except the 6 ran quite a bit earlier than what the numbers would have said. So it cares. I mean, you gotta like, and the model is factoring all that stuff into like jockeys. Jockeys select horses.
Mm-hmm.
They know who's in form, right? Also interesting. Hong Kong jockeys are their own agents, so that's there are no jockey agents in Hong Kong, and so I don't know how that. There must be something to that as well. Like what jockeys are all good jockeys and good businessmen, and like understand how to play the game. Are they good handicappers to know what horses they should be? So that being said, Zach is head and shoulders above everybody. It's not even close.
That when I was working at tracks more, I used to, sometimes I go to the jocks room, and it always shocked me how few racing forms there were.
Dude, their agents must do it for them, right? Like, is that? I don't know how that's.
I don't know. I don't know.
You would. I mean, I've heard things like some of the better jocks are quite big on, like Pratt. I've heard he's very much into that. Like the chess game. Again, I've just heard it. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, the Ortiz.
Zach is just the best. It's kind of freakish how good he is. He's got the timing. He's got the strategy. He gets all the best rides, as well. And even in a handicap game, he alone is worth many lengths. And that brings up, there's a horse we were talking about, right? That in the second race, there's a first-time starter, and I was looking through its training, and he kind of shoved Poon aside and got the ride. So I need to look into statistics. I actually haven't done that to see like jockey changes in first-time starters in the training process before they make their first start. I wonder if there's signal there. That would be very interesting to know.
Yeah.
But it's a good sign if he chooses to get on a horse, even though the horse didn't look that great in barrier trials, there must be something there.
Right.
He's just good.
Well, or what about, so it's interesting. Yeah. What about first-time starters by jockey in Hong Kong? Like more than, here there's just so many horses and different barns.
Yeah.
But there, Zach is his pick.
Yeah. And they must know because, he hasn't gotten all the big guns, but he got, he was on Ka Ying Rising, so he knew, got on that early. I'm pretty sure the history. He was always the original jockey. Before I say that, I should know that. But I have been following Hong Kong since before Ka Ying Rising started. So I should have that whole thing in my head now. And he missed one. I think that might have been when he was riding in Melbourne, like the Melbourne. He went down to Australia. So Teton rode him once when Zach was gone. That sounds right to me. Very cool. What did that pay? Yeah, and if people are new, it looks like everybody here's bet, but like Hong Kong. So Hong Kong, all the bets are in 10 Hong Kong dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So the payouts in units of 10, and then they pay out in 50-cent intervals, but they round up and down. So there's no breakage long term, which is very nice. You get a couple percent lower takeout, effective takeout anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And also on things like place bets, that really helps when you're getting bets that are lower payouts. Zero breakage really helps. And that's a part of the game, I'll admit, I haven't really. So I have the data for place payouts historically, going back quite a long way. And I just haven't had the time to go in and see, like, is there edge betting place? Because it's separately pooled and it doesn't depend on who finishes ahead of you, you should be able to do proper Kelly on the place bets there as well. You should, and I haven't got to that yet. I think there's probably more meat on the bone in exotics, which is where I'd like to go in the future, just to get it done perfectly. But nights and weekends, I got a 9-year-old, so I can do some much on this model.
Never enough time.
I got to get there.
Real quick, I'll take it back to the Derby for a second.
Yeah.
When you're talking about how good jocks are, so and you mentioned Pratt. So Pratt's ridden in 7 derbies.
I'm not seeing any stats. Are you showing something? Or you're just reading it?
I'm just talking it through.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
So 7 derbies. His average odds rank 8.7.
Okay.
So he rode 4 horses that were like first through 4th choice, and then 3 bombs. But his average rank of odds was 8.7 in the field.
Mm-hmm.
His average finish in the field is 3.7.
Yeah.
Literally, other than Soleimani, who was 63-1, and he rode to a 10th place finish, he's never missed the superfecta. I mean, Angel of Empire, he ran 3rd with the favorite. Catching Freedom, he ran 4th with the 4th choice. Country House, he won after the DQ with the 18th best horse odds-wise. Hot Rod Charlie was ranked 3rd in odds. He ran 2nd. And Battle of Midway was 15th in odds. He ran 3rd. Yep. And Zandon was 3rd in odds, and he ran 3rd. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
All right, so that's.
I'm excited. So I was thinking, like, so I have a futures wager on any Japanese horse in the Derby, and Moreira. When I heard Moreira got the ride, that really, I think one of the things about the Derby is the 20 horse fields that just cannot be like a normal environment, right? Like jockeys are not used to keeping track of 20 objects going that fast. In America, it's usually 8 horse fields, but in Hong Kong, it's 14, it's 12 or 14, and they're pretty much full fields every time. So I just feel like his brain must process big fields very well, and he can think about paths, even though it's mostly turf. He still rid dirt well. But
so
I feel like
he's on Luxor Cafe.
Yeah, and he's on a good horse. I have a feeling.
Have you watched?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you watch the replay, so I'll joke with you, but like, was his superior strategy was just to be like, go 4 or 5 wide, stay away from all the other horses, and then just like hit a button and go.
Yeah, but what I've seen, because like Larmy got me onto like these Japanese horses, is that their dirt is very different. It's much more like particulate, and so kickback in Japan is brutal. I think more brutal than American consistency. And so it's a pretty common. I also heard somebody sharp. There's a guy on Twitter that's a Japanese pro bettor. He said that the inside paths in Japan tracks are intentionally bad, like the way they build the tracks.
Okay.
It's like a known thing. So like the position is to be wide. And they gave Forever Young got the same rap last year. They were saying, oh, the guy doesn't like kickback.
Right.
And he take kickback perfectly well. And he was 4 lengths the best horse, and I'll go to my grave believing that.
On the wrong lead doesn't like Country House. Who doesn't like Country House? Just kidding.
I wonder who's running that account tonight. I can only guess.
I'm with you. I think that both Japanese horses are you've got to consider. I think Luxor Cafe could be really tough. And he looked good out there this morning. I got a good look at him. And
were you there? You went?
Yeah.
Nice.
He looks like he's all business. Like he's a serious horse.
Yeah.
He didn't look like quite as fit as some of the American horses, where you see like that real chiseled look. But yeah, he looked like he had his mind on business and he was serious.
That's great. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm probably just that future bet because like I'm already in, and I really like the Japanese horse. If the odds go higher than the future odds, they're not going to be, but I'd probably add more. But they're going to win eventually, and
yeah, obviously.
My pivot has been the Asian. I'm an Asian racing kind of guy now, so I'll root for them when they're here.
So you're just a homer playing the Japanese horses.
American Pharoah wrote. That was like it wasn't the first race I ever went to. It might have been the second day of racing I ever went to. Was when American Pharoah ran at Oaklawn. I had lived here, and I thought that would be interesting. I heard this horse is really good, so I got to see him. I actually bet that race, won. It's good. I found the program the other day. I have it. I was digging through some stuff and found that program.
Nick's wondering if Luxor
Aragona's at 10-1.
The what?
Aragona had him at 10. He released his morning line, like Aragona's line, which I would take. He said 10-1. But I think the Japanese, because the Derby's hot now with Forever Young. I think Japanese people are going to bet the Japanese horses lower. I think
the Americans are going to bet it. I mean, after just finishing second or third by nose, but you could easily make the argument Forever Young coulda, shoulda won. So.
He's a great horse. He's a great horse. They're going to get there, and it's just fun to watch them. Every year they're gonna show up a couple, and they don't have to be a couple, but they seem to keep winning in the Middle East too. They get 2 in. There's 1 guaranteed in Japan, and then they get the any comer in was Dubai, and they've been winning that race.
Yeah. Just a reminder, if anyone wants to get in on our bet share, we've got a bet share for this race, actually. So we got a big $2 try focusing on the 3 and the 8 that are both about 9-2, 8 and 4-1, but spreading with some nice prices in there. And it's only $2.40. So if you have a Twin Spires account or if you want to set one up, and it's a great way to kind of get some action for only $2.40.
Yeah, let's do this race. So how much time we have?
Yeah.
So let me.
11 minutes.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't want to drive for you, but
This
is the race I want to talk about. So these kinds of run lines in my model, I guess on projection lines, don't come along very often. This race looks fantastic to me. Again, I'm building up way too much. Watch it just fall apart. But this is my favorite race on the card. Like I rarely see kind of all of the models tell the story so coherent. So yeah, let my modeling strategy, like how I think about it, which is interesting. So I've come around to Hong Kong it's basically a removal system. So I think about every race, like what would be the long-term payout if I bet every horse in every race? Like what does that look like? And it's minus 23% ROI, right? You have a 100% hit rate and you lose 23%, where the takeout is 17.5. But so the game for me, like designing the system was, okay, how do I start removing horses from the total? And I'd still bet multiple horses per race if they look good. Like, what's the strategy? So that's kind of the theory behind it. So all of these models, I built a ton of models. All these models are telling a story about a different part of the race: early pace, late pace, overall speed given the projected position they're going to be in, overall probability to win given the position they're going to be on. So there's like all of these models, and what I'm looking for is so I look at the Kelly numbers, like what's the top Kelly horse? I say, okay, here is a theory. This horse is profitable. Try to talk me off that horse. I'm trying to get the models to tell me this is error, this is model error, this is not right. So that's how I think about betting now in Hong Kong. Is I'm trying to like bet the horses the model tells me to. I assume that the model, I'm going to bet the horse that the Kelly tells me to bet, and then I use all of the other models, like a dozen other models, to try to talk me off of that. And this is a race where I'm getting nothing from the models telling me that this isn't the right bet. So the HK Ultra model loves Top Throne, which is the 3 horse. It's third start. He's the last out winner, same course and distance. The model projects him to have early competitive pace, to stock second mid-pack, dominating late pace, and a clear speed figure gap from the field. So like, boom, right there, that is like, bam, 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 big positive signals. A horse that looks that good on third start, like the model is very cautious about horses with not a lot of back data. Mm-hmm. So I have him off 4.7. In fact, let me look at the tote. I haven't looked yet. Off 4.7, fair 2.4. Race 2. What's the win line look like?
So here's the late pace you're talking about.
Yeah, so he's at 4 points. He's at 5.7 Hong Kong, which is 4.7 US. So I'm right on with the line. So my fair is at 2.7. Okay. Wow. And that's an 11.2% Kelly value. Which is all the way at the end of my my calibration system. So this is like what I'd call a prime bet, and I'm trying to figure out a way to not make this bet because it looks too good to be true, right? But all the models are telling me speed gap between him and the next horse is big, right? He's got the speed to be in the right position. My projection system says he's going to be in the right position. So my conditional probability system. Basically, so I have him. Where's he at? Oh yeah, so he's going to be a little wide. So that's the thing. He's going to be a little wide. Because he has a really wide draw. Okay, but what's great is there's 3 horses that all have similar early pace profiles and different draws, but he has Teton. Okay, so I really feel like the battle in this race is going to be who outmaneuvers who. Is it Teton or Morera gets the second path? Second ranked position. That's really what this race. It's like a game of inches. It's like whoever gets that path. If Top Throne does not get that position, his probability of winning is basically that line, right? It's around 25%. If he can muscle his way into the 2-2 position, if he's in 2-3, it's 25%. If he can get the 2-2, it's 40%. Wow. According to my decoding model. And so that's where I'm using the intel. So he's got one of the best jockeys at Hong Kong, but in his way is one of the best jockeys at Hong Kong ever who's coming back. And so that's the risk in this bet. That's really the only thing I can find. Parterre is a great, like Parterre is basically Morera's horse. That's the 2 horse.
Right.
He's got the right stats to be there. The only other horse that has similar early pace configuration that could also be vying for that position is Beauty Missile. The 6 horse, that horse is jockeyed by Hamlin, who is a 3% jockey. He's kind of a journeyman. He's not at these guys' level, right? So that's what I see is basically Top Throne has a good chance of winning in the current projected position, but if Teton can get him in that slightly better position, it's even a better bet, and he's going to crush. And then the other wild card we talked about is Zach on the first-time starter, the 8. I have him projected to be inside 3rd rank. So a good ground-saving trip. If the horses come, he'll get a good trip. Zach knows how to ride on the rail. Mm-hmm. And what we saw, the reason it's kind of flagged is we went back through the barrier trials, and he was being ridden by Poon for his earlier barrier trials. And then Zach took control of the horse. Right. Ran last barrier trial, the horse improved, and now Zach's got the start. So, He's the winningest jockey all time, current multi-year champion. Again, this is not the model telling us this. This is like the human handicapper telling us maybe we should put him in also on top to not get beat. But I really like the 3. I just haven't seen a situation like this where everything looks so perfect to get a nice, really high edge, high value.
And
hit.
who are the 3 early speed horses you said that would go out? The 1?
It's going to be, I have the 3, the 2. Well, it's complicated. So I have an early speed project. So I have 3, 2, and 6, right? So I said maybe even an exacta 3, 2 with Morera and the 2. Sorry, it's the 4. So the 4 is going to be there, but the 4 is the top speed, but he's just no shot. He's going to be. I got to be right. My dog is asking to go.
Okay.
She's scratching the door.
Yeah, so you can see I'm poking around Keith's numbers here, where he's got the early pace. The 3 has the standout late pace, and
yeah. So what I have is the 4 is going to be in the first rank, but he has no late pace. He's not going to be there.
Okay.
Yeah, and the conditional probability for that horse is even worse. So he's, I have him. What is his? Yeah, I have that horse is kind of like dangling on the front, like the model didn't know what to do with it. So it's like wide on the lead. And in a 1200 race at Shot, then you can have those kind of wide dispersals because everybody's pushing to the front late, trying to get in front and over. So horses can get with that. It's a shorter run to the turn in the 1200 meter race there, which is very different than 1200 at Happy Valley, right? Because they have like a 90-degree turn before they get on the backstretch. So it kind of breaks everything up early, spreads out the pack. But at Shot 10, it's a very long run to the turn. So you can have more of a distribution across the track at that point. And the model picks up on that and does things like what I'm seeing. So the 4 is kind of lingering out on the front wide.
Okay, but you don't think the 4 can hang on?
No.
It doesn't have enough.
No. And so its conditional is, the only way he could be competitive is he has to get over to the rail, has to get to the rail. And the probability then would be like fair would be something like 4 or 5 to 1 if he can get front right, like in the 1-1 position.
Mm-hmm.
But in his current position, he's 10 to 1. I mean, it's like, okay, 10 to 1 is not terrible, but it's not a value play.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Really like the 3. So that,
And
I
why?
think. Excuse me?
I was just
saying,
saying,
and I thought the way I have this trip down in my head, what the model's telling me is like it could be 3-2. I could really see that, like a 3-2 exacta could be nice. I really Morera is really hot right now. He's come back. He's doing extremely well, and that's not necessarily well reflected in my stats because I use a few time kernels to kind of try to capture recent, mid, and long-term fluctuations. But it might not be I might not be capturing how just well he's been riding lately compared to reality. Right back, she's trying to get in.
All right. Jenny's got the 3 as the paddock pick, and Andrew's got the 3. So we're getting some consensus here at 5 to 1. All right, they're getting ready, thinking about loading. I was saying Jenny's on the 3, and so is Andrew. So
really, okay, they're killing my. What's the? He's still 5 to 1, 5 to 2. He's floating up. The first-time starters, the favorite currently, and dropping rapidly. How much time to post?
8.
Green lamps all over the place. So we're getting late money on the 5. We're getting late money on the 3, 5, 9, 11, 14.
The 5 is a huge price, though, right?
Well, that would cause green. Usually the lamps are on the longer shots, right? Because it's easier to move those odds velocities. It's like a proportion, right? So super long shots fluctuate if somebody drops a big bet. Yeah. No brown yet.
And the 11's a second time starter, right? It seems like
11 is.
It's got a little bit of
race. We're in race two. 11. Yeah, there's a bunch of first time starters. The 11 is a second time starter. Bowman aboard. Eustace is a new trainer. Is pretty good. Showing potential. But I like my third time starter, and I guess everybody else was on the horse. It's not as clever as I thought.
I mean, 5-1. Yeah, that firster's dropping, and then what about the 14? He's dropping a lot. From
do you have the video up? I got 10. Yeah. I was looking at 2. I need another screen actually. When we're doing these, I need more surface area.
All right, they're off. So good luck, everybody.
Yeah. I'm gonna get my price. Wow. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. The teams are coming in late. The 14 got absolutely demolished late. Wow.
Yeah.
But 4.7. So I got my price.
So the 3 is in third in yellow.
Right.
And he's just going right for it, isn't he?
Is it all right?
Yeah.
The 4, so not quite what I projected, but all right, come on. He's gonna be. You got the 1-2 position, not the 2-2 position.
Yeah.
So we will see.
Are they going fast or not? It seemed like they just thought he was quality, so they're just going to send him out of there.
He's not.
Mighty can get through between them from Patch of Time to Raya.
Yeah.
And then Beauty Missile and Aero Invincible. It's the big fella. It's Golden Tronic Mighty who's run away from them. Amazing Galaxy storming home on debut. Rainbow 7's running to second, but Golden Tronic Mighty and Ka Ying Golden Tronic Mighty beat home Rainbow 7 and Lucky My Way. He flashed into third from Deraya Amazing Galaxy. Then came Time to...
They knew.
They did know. That's one to mark and go back. Like, those are the kinds, they got to figure out what the hole is in the model. Like, what are they seeing? What are they seeing?
I thought the come home time was pretty strong last time in 22 and 2.
Yeah, I mean, I had the off odds right. So I had 4-1. Or 5-1. I had 5-1. So they had it at 3-1. So I was off by a bit, but my fare was very, very, very bad. So
2% jock.
I don't know. Those are the ones that scratch your head. But I'm more concerned the fact that the 3 just died.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he didn't want to be that close. Maybe they just panicked coming out of that.
They revved him too hard. Yeah, thinking he could get away because third time starter. We talk about this like the model's matching off of historical trajectories of ability, and it just thought it was going to go one way and it totally went the other way. Huh. That's why it's an interesting game. This is just fascinating.
Yes.
Final odds looked.
This is tag ball over again. I was just kind of poking through this race earlier, Keith. This is what I saw was this 22-2 finish time was pretty stout for the field. I mean, there were.
Who are you talking about? The
14.
Oh, the 14.
Yeah, I mean, most of these first and second time starters on the outside weren't much. They didn't look like much. Did this 10?
Did you even see the 8 where the 8 was?
No, I didn't, but there was a lot going on. Yeah, on the wrong lead with me. They knew.
Yeah.
This is Taiba all over again.
Oh, that's Josh then. It's definitely Josh. Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason, the PDF doesn't like it when I'm scrolling. It just drops.
Taiba.
Taiba.
I bet Taiba quite a bit more than I just bet that horse. Believe me. That was the Keeneland Breeders' Cup. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
I was negative that year for the whole year, I believe. That was 2022, right?
Yeah. Lou saying the 14 had a good post in light, 4-year-old.
Yeah, but we factor all it in. Like that can't be it. The model regresses out all of that. It's got to be something to be that wrong on the fair odds. Or maybe I'm not, but everybody knew. So there was something there. There's something.
Yeah.
There's something I'm not considering.
Well, so he had a break from February to March. And see the look at the difference in form. So prior to the break, he's 10th, 9th, 3rd, 9th, 10th, 10th.
Freshening. What is it? They sent him to the farm?
Well, they gave him, let's see, they gave him, really that's just 3 weeks.
The training facility.
He runs second in a barrier trial at a shorter distance.
Yeah.
Then he runs 5th, so he's improved. That's almost one like, it's a new horse or a new pace top or something like that.
Yeah.
And then instead of like seeing that race improve, they go to 2 barrier trials where he's improved. Yeah.
If you see the courses, so it's even more than that. So the CTC is Changhua. So they shipped them to the farm on mainland China for a break. They brought them back. They shipped them back to the farm again for another break. And then they brought them back. It's like a 2-hour ship. They sent them. It's like in the mountains, about 2 hours northwest of Hong Kong.
Yeah. And then post 2. So isn't that a nice post?
Huh. But
yeah, I mean, if you project from this, 9th, 10th to 5th, that's only one data point to start moving forward. But then if you look at these barrier trials, it's like he's going in the right direction. Yeah. I mean, look at whoever made this program made him 22-1.
Yeah. Yeah, those morning line odds are the official morning line odds are like Hong Kong doesn't do them. I don't know. They outsource that to a third party. I don't actually know who does their odds, but they don't do them themselves, and they're I think mine are better, honestly, by a good margin. But I had him right. I had the final price right, but the way he ran off the screen, the fair was wrong.
Yeah,
like that didn't look like a race where that just happened. Like 1 out of 7 coin flip. That looked like a 50-50 coin flip.
Right. All right. Well, let's wrap up here because we've been going for almost a couple hours and it's getting late. But just to kind of recap on the Group 1. So Ka Ying Rising in the 5th is not beatable, at least on paper.
Not in a normal race, no.
Okay. So then we're on to the 7th. You liked?
I like Galaxy Patch. So Voyage Bubble is obviously the best horse, but I made a strong case for Galaxy Patch.
That's right. For the 6th. Okay.
Yeah.
And then was that curtain up great price
That's
on the
certain,
6.
yeah. So we'll see about that. Again, and that's just me seat of the pants stuff. The model's not telling me that. That was me kind of thinking about it, looking at the data I did have. So, and then the 8, you know, Liberty Island, again, based on this kind of cobble together a theory, Liberty Island or Prognosis look great. I would probably fade Goliath in this race and try to go with one of those two. And honestly, like depending, that would be like a tote time decision. If you had to go to sleep now, I'd probably bet Prognosis. But if you could stay up, I would wait and maybe bet Liberty Island to see if you get a price.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get to
3.3. But
maybe I'll pre-bet
if I had to
it.
bet it blind, I would bet Prognosis. If you were live and watching the tote, I would see if you get Liberty Island and bet that if it was like what it's showing now. That's what I would do. But if I had to put in a bet and go to bed, I would bet Prognosis.
All right. I think I'm going to put in bet, go to bed. I got to pick one.
Blind. If you're blind, bet Prognosis. If you're not blind, bet Liberty Island. If you get that decision, yeah, that's what I would do.
All right.
I bet everything blind. I just, like I'm in dev mode. I'm not really seriously betting right now. So like I put in what the model tells me and go to sleep, wake up, and it's like Schrodinger's bet. I'm live until I actually check.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us. This is always fun, and I love doing this Hong Kong with you. I learn a ton every time, and this was
it's fun to do these. Reason to stay up late, hang out.
Yeah, we'll have to do some more. So good luck everybody if you're playing the rest of the card. Great racing all the way through, and I want to wake up tomorrow and see that Ka Ying Rising is 13 for 15. So I'll be checking on that.
Open lengths.
So, but we'll do it again, and got to keep doing some Hong Kong great racing.
All right.